Hello, I'm Bo, and welcome back to another video. So today what I'm gonna do is start reading The Hunger Games. Now, I have seen the movie and I have read the book before. I read it in November of last year. So this is a reread for me. Why am I reading this again? Because I'm not somebody who usually picks up books that I've already read before, especially not that I've read so recently. But the reason is because I'm participating in Sunrise on the Readathon hosted by Katie Colson, and her readathon is a month-long competitive readathon that's taking place all in the month of July, and it is themed after none other than the Hunger Games series. So I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to try my best to actually get through the series, because I have read book one, like I said, but I have yet to continue reading the rest of the books. So what I did was created a story graph buddy read. If you want to join along, I have all the links listed down below. Some people have already started reading the buddy read. I'm late, of course. It's already pretty much the middle of July, so I'm lagging. You can just jump in whenever, and the buddy read literally doesn't end until every single person has read the book. So even if you're late, like me, go ahead and just join along and leave your comments as you go so we can talk about the book. And I think that's a lot of motivation, and it's a lot of fun to just see what other people say as they're reading. I think it's so fun the way that Katie has set up the readathon, where you kind of join a team based on your zodiac sign. So for me, I'm a Sagittarius, which puts me in the fire district. And then every elemental district has 6 tributes. Now there's 2 for each zodiac sign, but we don't know which colors or which tributes are associated exactly with which sign. So as we're competing and reading towards our district, we're kind of just all rooting for our own district. Like, I'm rooting for the fire district, not specifically Sagittarius, because I don't know who the Sagittarius tributes are. So I'm hoping by the end one of my zodiac tributes actually makes it, but if a fire district tribute is the one that wins, even though it's not Sagittarius, it's still gonna feel like a win for me. And it also makes it even more sad and gut-wrenching when they get eliminated during the cannon call, which is something that just happened right now. I just got off Katie's live where she did the second cannon call. So the first week, Fire District got so lucky. We escaped the elimination round without any tributes being eliminated. However, the same cannot be said for week 2. 3 of our tributes got eliminated from this week's cannon call. Now that has lit a fire under my ass, and I really need to pick up a book. I feel like, personally, I let my team down because last week I just didn't really read at all. So somebody's carrying our team, and it's not me. I apologize, team. I really do. So today I am absolutely going to pick up this book and begin reading it. But before I do, I really have to show you the t-shirt that I'm wearing because I'm obsessed with it. This is a Fire District specific t-shirt. This is why it's red, and I know I don't normally wear colors. I feel like everything I wear is black, but I had to get this red shirt to support my team. Now, I really hope you were able to see that, but it does have Fire District on the back, and it has all of our tributes, and then at the bottom it shows the winner from last year's readathon. Now, I didn't participate last year because I didn't know this was a thing, so I'm really excited that I was able to find this readathon in time to join this year. Next year, hopefully she does it again and makes similar t-shirts, and then hopefully at the bottom will be the winning tribute that is Sagittarius Fire District. One can only hope. But anyways, if you want to stick around and watch me read The Hunger Games, I'm going to be including spoilers so I can actually talk to you and give you my actual reactions to things that are happening within the book throughout the entire series. Now, my aim is to read every single book in the series. Am I gonna get to that in this specific video? Probably not, as much as I would love to do that, but realistically, this video would probably come out in a year if I did that, because I don't know how fast I'm actually gonna get through every book in the series. In my brain, when I started this, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna read every single one of them back to back, no problem. In reality, I still haven't picked up the first book, and again, it is July 14th. So Do we want the video out, or do we want to wait till I actually finish reading the series, which could be never. We'll see how it goes. Let me at least commit to book 1 and maybe book 2. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Wish me luck. I can do this. This is a YA book and it's a very quick, exciting read. I do have the audiobook for it, so I think I'm gonna be fine. Okay, because I'm reading this with the intention of actually talking to you about it and like leaving commentary and maybe even writing in the buddy read in the comments and stuff, I have to initially say I haven't even left the very first page of the story without wanting to make a comment. Katniss literally said she wanted to drown a cat. I already hate her. Now, I've never even like processed that part of it before. I've never thought too much into it. I understand where she's coming from. She's saying that she's so poor, like they just can't afford to feed another living creature. I get it. I really do. But I also just cannot fathom ever wanting to harm an animal. So I'm sorry, that pains me and I had to make a comment. I'm on page 11 and I wanted to say that this is truly a 5-star read, because a 5-star read is a book that is so enjoyable that I don't mind reading it again, and I'm so immersed even on the second read, because I'm reading this book just thinking about how great of a writer Suzanne Collins is. Even though I know everything that is happening, I'm super invested immediately. From the very first sentence, I feel like I'm just completely engulfed in this story. Like, the amount that I want to just completely binge every single word and not stop to talk to you about this is going to be really difficult, because I don't want to pause it and I don't want to stop reading. But I literally had to stop to tell you that. And I also wanted to make a note of her talking about Gale for the first time and how they met. So she was 12 years old and he was 14. She mentions that she's never had any kind of thoughts for Gale in a romantic way. Her relationship with him is purely a friendship and also purely a survival aspect, where he is a great hunter and she's a great hunter, and together they are able to provide for their families. So when he starts talking to her about like having kids or running off to the woods together, you can see obviously that Gale has this other view of Katniss, that he is kind of wanting something more, and she's just like, what are you talking about? We're friends? Like, why are you even hinting at crossing that line? So right away, Katniss is not interested in Gale. And I just want to point that out. Just making a note for myself to remember, because I know that this book turns into a little bit of that like love triangle feeling, even though it's not. Like, I don't feel like it ever is truly a love triangle, because she doesn't like Gale. And I could be wrong. I don't remember. Let's wait and see. Does she ever change her feelings about Gale in that way? Because from what I remember, she doesn't. I don't think she ever likes him like that. But let's go ahead and see. Hold on. The reaping ages is between 12 and 18. The people in the Capitol are pieces of shit. Why wouldn't this be a tournament for grown men and women? Why children? Okay, with the amount of times I keep pausing the book, I feel like I'm never gonna finish this. You know I always have a lot to say. So I already have chills, because when you really think about it, it makes me so angry about how they do the Reaping Day. I mean, the whole thing is fucked up, right? The Capitol and the districts, and the poorest people just getting the worst of it. I mean, with your name being entered more times based on, you know, how little money you actually have. But the fact that it starts at 12 years old, they are sending 12-year-old children to this death tournament to compete for food. Like, really think about that. Think about the 12-year-olds you know, and then think about them having to go and participate in the Hunger Games. This is truly awful when you think about it. I also have to say that Suzanne's ability to give you all the background information that you need in the first chapter is seamless. Like, it does not feel like an exposition dump. It just feels like it's flowing so easily, and I'm just eating it up. Whatever words they use, the real message is clear. Look how we take your children and sacrifice them, and there's nothing you can do. If you lift a finger, we will destroy every last one of you, just as we did in District 13. Don't you just love a bleak dystopian book? I already know the story, and I still immediately get tears in my eyes when Primrose's name is called. My heart just drops to my stomach. I'm an empath where I tend to put myself into the position of the character so that I can really feel what they would be feeling, which often makes me more emotionally invested in characters. And when certain terrible things happen, I cry very easily. And so when her name gets called, it really gets me every time. And I feel like what happens immediately after that with Katniss volunteering and then Gale, I feel like it's just like boom, boom, boom. Emotions are flowing so high. I feel like everything, like the adrenaline is already raising in this book, and it's just, I get chills. Peeta! Oh, when he burns the loaf and throws it to her. I love him. I don't bother suggesting Prim learn to hunt. I tried to teach her a couple of times and it was disastrous. The woods terrified her, and whenever I shot something, she'd get teary and talk about how we might be able to heal it if we got it home soon enough. Prim. Same girl. Same. Perhaps it is a sickness, but it's one we can't afford. I feel so bad about the mother. I feel conflicted because on one end, I'm a big advocate for mental health, and clearly her mother was in a really severe depression, and depression is not something to be taken lightly. However, I also understand where Katniss is coming from, where this was like a life and death situation, and her mother was supposed to be the adult in the situation, the provider, the leader of the family without her father around and these two children looking up to her. You know, Katniss is 11, Prim is 7 years old, and all they have is their mother. And their mother is there literally immobile because of her deep depression. That's heartbreaking, because what do? On one end, you want to be mad at the mom for not taking care of her children, but on the other hand, she lost her husband and she's hurting, but so are her kids. So it's kind of like, oh my God, like, what do you feel in that situation? Like, is it her fault? Is it not her fault? How do you blame somebody that's going through that kind of a sickness? And on the other hand, like, there's children involved that need you. So, that's a heavy one. That is such a heavy aspect. And I mean, Katniss has every right to be upset with her mom. You know, it forced her to grow up faster than she had to. She had to be the one to take care of her whole family. So that's huge. At 12 years old, 11 years old, she really had to step up and become the adult in the home. The breadwinner, the supporter, the security. That's crazy and really sad. Heavy for a YA book, right? I love hearing her talk about the Mockingjay and how those were created. I also especially love hearing her talk about how her father would sing to the Mockingjays and then they would sing back because he had such a beautiful voice. Because specifically, I think of my dad who could whistle like a bird, and I can't whistle, and I don't think my mom can whistle either. So it's something that I especially remember about my dad, how he could just whistle whole beautiful songs just like a bird. I love the way that the author has made the distinction between the capital and the districts. I love that they have their own way of talking and their own really like flamboyant way of dressing, like very eccentric, like colored hair, glittering gold makeups. It's so obvious that they are rich enough and they don't care about, starving to death, so they can value fashion and makeup and hair, and it just makes them so different from the tributes, right? I just love the way that she distinguished those two. And Cinna just entered the story, the stylist for District 12, and I just love the way that she points out like, oh, you're new, right? I haven't seen you before. And he says, you know, I didn't get stuck with District 12, I chose District 12. And I'm like, Cinna, he's like one of my favorites. Obviously, I've seen the movie before and I've read the book before, so I kind of have already this like affinity for him before we even really know him in this book. So it's kind of just like rereading, I get to see like entering in my favorite characters. I felt the same way for Haymitch, because obviously like in the beginning of book 1, like you don't like Haymitch, right? He's just a drunk, he's not helpful, he's just, you know, holding them back and like a barrier to them probably being able to succeed. But obviously like once you've already read the book or seen the movies, you know that like you're like, oh, Haymitch. Like, so it's kind of exciting to see these characters. But I'm trying to, as I'm reading this, kind of see what would my reaction be like the first time I read this. Like if I didn't know what was already coming, like would I like this character? So right off the bat, my initial reactions to some of these characters, if I didn't already know what was going to happen, is, you know, I don't have any like desire for her to be with Gale, because I already see that like, you know, she doesn't like him in that way, but I do like him as a supportive friend, and I do like Gale. I just don't like want her to be with him or anything. And then like Peeta, I really like Peeta right off the bat because he's really flavored as kind, and I just love that. You know, he was always kind of like looking at her like maybe he had a crush on her or something, I don't know, but he was just so kind to her. And then like his being kind to Haymitch and offering to clean him up, like things like that. I just love a kind human being. And then I've already said like Haymitch right off the bat, you know, if I didn't know any better, like obviously my first impression of Haymitch would be like he's annoying and frustrating because he's just a drunk. He's just completely useless and in the way and unhelpful and just a complete jerk. Up until this point in the book, like I don't like Haymitch, like first impression wise, even though it's not my first impression, but like I wouldn't like Haymitch right now. And then we have Katniss, who I really love. She is such a strong female main character. She's so tough. She's ready to stand up and defend her family. She's driven by like this love of her family, and it's so tight-knit. Like she loves her sister so much. And I love that she just does everything that she can to, you know, support the people that she loves and cares about. And she's not afraid to get dirty. I love even when she's eating and then she gets so irritated by a comment that Effie makes that she decides that she's going to eat with her fingers just to piss her off. I'm like, I love that. I love her attitude. I love her energy. Again, I do hate that these are children. I hate that, you know, this 16-year-old girl is made to be plucked and prodded and to stand there naked being observed and styled by these like adults that are just dressing her up like a doll, like weird. And then overall, I just love the underdog situation. I love that they come from the poorest district, the one that's like most overlooked. There's no chance. They don't have training. They don't have a good mentor. The odds are just not in their favor right now. And I love that. It makes it even more satisfying when they start to turn things around. Their entrance on the chariots are so badass. Katniss, the girl that was on fire. I love it. Ooh, chills, exciting. I can picture it. Hearing Katniss talk about Rue in the training center immediately brings tears to my eyes. Okay, you cannot tell me that when she shoots the apple that the pig is holding in its mouth, like that's not the one of the most iconic scenes in the history of all iconic scenes. I just finished chapter 8 and I really love her relationship with Gale. I'm at the part where she just finished kind of like missing him and thinking about him and how she first met Gale and how they had this mutual need to survive, so they kind of teamed up together and formed this survival team of like teaching each other skills. You know, he taught her how to snare and entrap animals, and then she taught him how to identify berries, and, you know, having both of their fathers die in that coal mine blast. They're just bonded together, kind of like through their trauma and the love of their families and needing to step into that role of oldest child becoming the provider and protector of their families. You know, she does end up saying like that calling her relationship with Gale just a friendship is not even strong enough. It's just this partnership, this team that she has with him. Obviously, like, there is a love there, even if she doesn't see it initially as romantic, but there is this like, you know, I've got you, you've got me relationship between the two of them that is very different from her and Peeta, and I do think that's very interesting. Here's another quote that points out that distinction between the capital and the districts. They do surgery in the capital to make people appear younger and thinner. In District 12, looking old is something of an achievement, since so many people die early. You see an elderly person, you want to congratulate them on their longevity. Ask the secret of survival. A plump person is envied because they aren't scraping by like the majority of us. But here it is different. Wrinkles aren't desirable, a round belly isn't a sign of success. The reveal where he says that he has a crush on her in front of the whole studio audience. Ooh, I love that part. And with that big reveal, I completed chapter 9, and I'm now at part 2, the games. Okay, I just finished chapter 14. So exciting. Chapter 14 is the chapter where she's in the trees and lets down the tracker jacker nest. Oh, okay, so I feel like I haven't given you an update in a while because when the games begins, I feel like it's just go, 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 and I couldn't look away, but then there was also nothing really to comment on. I feel like just a lot is happening. It's really exciting. It's crazy that this book is almost impossible to put down. Every single page is interesting. Like, every sentence, like, nothing is boring in this book. So, like, specifically in this part, when she's in the trees and the career pack is underneath her with Peeta, it's so exciting that she sees Rue up there, and Rue is helping her, and she sees now the skill that Rue has, that she's able to be so quiet and nimble as she jumps from tree to tree. And I just like always get so excited hearing about Rue because I'm just like, yes, like, talk about a true underdog. She is 12 years old. Like, it makes me want to cry because I just love Rue so much, and I'm just like, yes, get it, girl. Like, oh my gosh, I love her. And then you have Katniss dropping that tracker jacker nest on all of those careers, and just the satisfaction of her just taking out 2 of the girls beneath her and then having the rest of them run off to the lake. And then when she gets the parachute that has like the ointment from Haymitch, I'm like, yes, Haymitch coming through. Oh my god, everything's so exciting right now. I just like, I can't get over it. It's so fun and I want to continue. It's so good. And then the part where she's like, wait, I gotta go back for the bow, and then you're like, yes, girl, get the bow and arrows. Like, we've been waiting for this moment. So now she has the bow and arrows from Glimmer, and then Peeta sees her again and saves her life essentially. So it's like, what the hell, Peeta? Like, are you with us? Are you against us? Like, what the hell is going on with you? Oh my god, everything is so exciting. And then chapter 14 literally ends with her going into hallucinations. Crazy. We're halfway through the book. This is like the 50% mark. You know when you're approaching 50% that something really climactic is gonna happen. This huge turn of events is gonna go down, right? Like, something has to happen at that halfway point, and like, this was it. This is so exciting. She has her bow and arrows. She's locked in. Like, she's gonna get through this. Like, I'm ready for the second half of the book. Woo! This is 5-star energy book, okay? Like, this is what a 5-star book feels like. Okay, I have to continue. Now Katniss and Rue are teamed up together, and I love that they're coming up with this offensive plan to target the supplies to hurt the careers. I love this line, that the careers have been better fed growing up is actually to their disadvantage, because they don't know how to be hungry, not the way Rue and I do. Okay, clearly I finished chapter 18, which is the end of part 2. It is still so sad. I feel like it gets me every time. It doesn't get any easier. I felt like because I knew what was gonna happen, there were moments even before it happened where my eyes were watering just in anticipation of what I already knew was coming. I love that she covers her with flowers. I love that she sings to her. I love that District 11 sends her the bread. Oh my god, why is this book so good? And then we get the big twist at the end of chapter 18 that there can be 2 winners if the 2 tributes are from the same district. And then it all comes together like, oh my god, Peeta and Katniss can win together. So whew, Suzanne really knows how to write an engaging story. Oh my god, how have I never continued the series? Like, I'm obsessed right now, and man, this book is so good. I can only hope that the next books in the series are gonna be as good as this. Like, I can't imagine how she could outdo herself. Like, are the next book, those are the ones that I haven't read, remember? Like, I've read this one before, once. And I have seen the movies, but you know what? I saw them, like, years ago. So realistically, like, I don't fully remember what happens after book 1 or movie 1. I don't know, like, I'm thinking about it right now, and I honestly cannot remember what happens in the second and third film. So I do really feel like I'm gonna be kind of going in blind a little bit. I'm sure my memory will be jogged as I'm reading, but right now, if you ask me, like, I couldn't tell you what happens in the second or third film. I don't even know when those movies came out, but I feel like I saw them once when they were in theaters, and then, like, that was it. I truly don't know if I've ever even rewatched those. So yeah, so I only know from listening to other people talk about how the whole series is so good. Like, you already know that it's so hard for me to continue a series, and I'm so worried about, like, being let down in the next book, or just, you know, losing momentum or interest. So I don't know, this first book is so good, and I'm not even done with it. Like, I'm barely starting part 3, and so I still have, you know, some ways to go, but I know the rest of it is good too, so I'm already, you know, I'm excited. But I feel really motivated to pick up book 2 like right after I finish this, so I keep the momentum going and the excitement for this world and this story. I hope it's just as good. Even like a fraction of this book would be still like a great book. So yeah, okay, I need to finish this. This is so funny. So Katniss is literally like nursing Peeta back to health, and then she's telling him that story about how she got Prim the goat, and she's so into the story, thinking about her and Gale getting this goat for Prim and presenting it to her sister and her mom. And then Peeta makes a comment, and then she literally says, "I almost forgot he was there." I literally started laughing because I'm just thinking about, like, poor Peeta, like, in this moment, feeling, like, so romantic because he's, like, in love with this girl and she's kissed him finally and she's nursing him back to health. And she's literally like, "Oh, I forgot you were here as I was daydreaming of being home with my family and people I actually care about." Thresh saving Katniss and killing District 1 girl. Whew. Okay, we're getting down to the wire here. I just finished chapter 21. We're almost there. Not much left to go. I don't think Katniss would have ever fallen in love with Peeta. I'm not saying she's in love with him right now. I know she's still kind of like, I need this for the sponsors and for the show, and I'm doing this for Haymitch, and so she's kind of conflicted on her feelings and stuff, but I truly don't even think that if they were never in the Reaping and they're never in the Hunger Games, like, yes, she noticed the boy with the bread, but, like, she never thought of him in that way. I really feel like their relationship with each other is just trauma bonding from the Hunger Games. And I'm not saying that that is not a valid reason to become connected with someone. I know that is a thing that happens. People go through a very intense, difficult, life-threatening situation and they become bonded for life. And they realize, you know, they have this connection with each other because they have shared something that nobody else could understand, and they become a couple or something like that, right? So I'm not saying her feelings for him are not real. I'm just not convinced that she's convinced that she actually does care for him. I mean, she's not, clearly, right? Like, she still doesn't know how she feels. I mean, I do think she cares for him. Like, as a person, she doesn't want him to die. He's kind, he's helped her, she's known him all her life pretty much, even though they were just acquaintances, but he's a kind person. So of course she's gonna do anything she can to, you know, get out of this situation alive, both of them. But do I think in this moment she actually has feelings for him in a romantic way? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think if there wasn't the Hunger Games, or if there wasn't sponsors relying on this, I don't think she would have like forced herself to even kiss him. I think Katniss is the girl that all the boys want to be with, but she doesn't really like any of them. She's just living her life, trying to survive. You know, like, she's trying to not starve. Back at District 12 and here in the Hunger Games, she has bigger things to worry about besides these relationships with these boys. Oh, I also wanted to bring up this moment here at the bottom of page 300 where Peeta is telling Katniss about how his father used to be in love with her mother when they were younger, and he tells her that her mom actually chose to be with a coal miner instead. And Peeta had asked his father when he was 5, why would she choose to be with a coal miner over you? And his father replies with this, because when he sings, even the birds stop to listen. And I just thought that was so beautiful. Peeta's annoying me because they just don't go together. They're just so different. Like, every time he does something, she's like thinking of Gale and being like, well, Gale would have done this. Like, you know what I mean? Not that she likes Gale in a romantic way, but just that, like, Peeta's just so different. Peeta's not from the same place. He hasn't experienced the same things. And I get it. Sometimes maybe opposites attract and whatever. But she has no attraction to him. There's really no... I mean, I get it. Peeta's charming. He's funny. I mean, I don't see him as funny. But there's a lot of telling and not showing with him at times. Because I feel like Suzanne tells us that Peeta is charming and funny, but we don't really see a lot of that. What we see a lot from Peeta is they just don't go together. I feel like the chemistry between them is not there. He's not what she would want. And I more so like kind of like feel bad for him because he's so sweet, and then he's like, oh, I've loved you since I was like 5 years old and I saw you. And she's just like, I've never noticed, you know, like he was never on her radar. So I start to kind of get annoyed with him because, like, she's trying to hunt and he's making all this noise, and it's not his fault. They're just very different. They have very different skills. He comes from a different area of the district, and I don't see them as compatible. And I don't think their trauma of being in the Hunger Games is enough to convince me that they should be together. So yeah, I'm at the part of the book where, like, he's kind of just annoying me because he's kind of just holding her back. And I know, I'm not saying he hasn't been helpful. He's helpful in a very different way than the obvious way, right? Like, he's been kind of like looking out for her, protecting her, saving her life in certain moments. Like, he comes in clutch, right? I feel like the whole angle with the star-crossed lovers, obviously he's perpetuating all of that has been essentially helping to save her life. However, I still don't like want them to be together, you know? I just want them both to survive. Ew, oh my god, how did I forget this? How did I forget that the mutations, those wolf creature things, are the tributes that have fallen? What? Wow, my memory sucks. That's disturbing. I was so excited when they won the Hunger Games, right? Like, that's the exciting part where you're like, yay, they made it out, like, they're done. And it feels like the book is over, right? Because that's the point. But then you realize there's the aftermath, and that's not the end of it. Because now you have to deal with the Capitol being upset about her outsmarting them. And then the only solution is for them to have been madly in love. And now she has to come to terms with the fact that she's not actually madly in love with him, right? Like, and it's so sad because he is in love with her. And she's just pretending. So now it feels like a mess. Like, literally the last line of 26 is, and right now the most dangerous part of the Hunger Games is about to begin. Like, how are you gonna say that at the very end of the book? That's crazy. Oh boy, it's so good. Oh my god, how did I not remember that Peeta has an artificial leg? I love that they did that. See, I read this in November and I still feel like I missed details, or just certain details just didn't stay with me. But I feel like I'm reading it more in-depthly and things are standing out to me a little bit more. It says that he got a new leg, metal and plastic device that has replaced his flesh. I love that. We have disability rep with Peeta now. I mean, it's at the very end of the book, but maybe in book 2? I've officially finished the Hunger Games. I'm done. I love the way that it ends because it is so painful. Oh, her indecision, her confusion around her feelings with Peeta and Gale, and does she like either of them? She doesn't know what she feels. Like, truly, even what she says, like, she feels frustrated that she even has to, like, make any kind of decision, or that he might be hurt or angry about, you know, not that he's, like, pressuring her or anything, but, you know, that he's a little upset that she was lying to him about feeling in love with him. You know, I get it. I feel bad for him because his feelings are true and he really was in love with her his whole life, and everything he did for her in the games is because he just loved her. And that is so heartbreaking because you see on her end that she just doesn't feel that way. And she even says it at the very end of the book, like, they were strangers and she was trying to survive. Like, they were in these games and they had to come out alive, and she did what she had to do. The Hunger Games was literally the first time she even spoke to him. They never had a conversation. They don't know each other. He has this idea of her, this love at first sight feeling in his gut that he just loves her. But, like, how does he know he loves her? He doesn't even know her. So yeah, there's just so many frustrating feelings. I love that you have to go into book 2 to see what happens. Now, like I said, I feel like I cannot remember what happens in book 2. I feel like I have an idea. Like, I think they get sent back to the games again, right? Right? And it's not just a bunch of aftermath, because I feel like that would be boring, right? If there wasn't another Hunger Games that they had to get through. How do I not remember? It's just been so long. Cannot remember. So I think it's going to be really fun and interesting going into book 2 because I cannot remember what happens. I mean, there were parts with this book that I didn't fully remember. This was a lot of fun. I think what I'm going to do is put out these spoiler Hunger Games series vlogs in singular videos. So I'm going to do it as a series. So this will be episode 1 of the Hunger Games reading series. So if you want to come along with me on the journey to read book 2, keep an eye out for that because I do want to pick book 2 up pretty quickly so I don't lose momentum and I don't forget what's happening in the story. I want to kind of just ride the coattails of this excitement and get into book 2. But I also want to put out a video for you guys this week. So I'm going to get this one out. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Let me know if you read this along with me, if you agreed with any of my thoughts along the way. You know, what were your thoughts with book 1? Don't give me any spoilers for the rest of the series, because again, even if I've seen the movies, like I don't remember, and I've never read the books, so of course the books are always going to be slightly different than the film adaptation. So just don't say anything about anything past book 1, but let's go into conversation about book 1. Like, tell me all of your thoughts and feelings now that I've finished it once again and you've heard all of my thoughts and feelings. This was a lot of fun. I can't believe I read this in one day. I was just obsessed and couldn't put it down. But I mean, again, that's a testament to how good this book is. It is unputdownable. It is a quick read. So with that, I say goodnight, and I'll see you in the next video.